DJ and PK, it's 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. It's a busy weekend for the middle of August when nothing's going on, PK. You had a million stories. You kept throwing them up there. We've talked about Don Nelson passing away, basketball Hall of Famer, legend, basketball lifer. We talked about Brian Santiago and BYU going to a message board, a communications official to squash the rumors about Santiago's future or lack of future at BYU. And you also put this up, and this got reaction. Veteran broadcaster Tim Brando has come on our show plenty of times, making predictions for the final playoff poll. What's it going to look like? And he put BYU on the outside again. And again, not by much. He ranks them 14th.
Yeah.
Timmy B's top 15. So how accurate do you think Brando will be? I looked at the teams in front of him, and there's a couple that raised some eyes right away. He's got a couple schools with coaching changes.
You raise eyes or you raise eyebrows?
Well, I raise my eyes too.
Well, they have to go together.
They do. They're linked. The eyebrows go further, though. He's got Ole Miss at 4, and he's got Penn State at 10, and they both obviously have new coaches. Now, Indiana, it's always the go-to for any outlier, any crazy thing that happens. You know, Signetti got to the playoff his first year, so not saying you can't, especially since Penn State had that expectation and Ole Miss was there. So it's not totally out of left field. Nonetheless, it raises some eyebrows. He's got a lot of the usual suspects. He did put UNLV 12.
That was a shocker.
And then
UNLV?
Yes. Well, any G5 that high is a shocker, right? And then he's got LSU at 13.
But not Boise, UNLV.
Which is another school with a brand new coach. Now, granted, a lot of money and a coach who just built a good
Ole
run.
Miss is sort of new, not entirely.
Yeah.
But
so there's a lot of maybes.
I think the thing that I took in Brando, I think, is an insider, but it's a prediction, right? Mm-hmm. But the statement that I took, rather than who's where and whatnot, is that only one team for the Big 12.
Yep.
That's the thing that jumped out at me.
He's got Tech at 7 and BYU at 14. He only does 15 teams. He doesn't have.
And I listened driving in the College Station, Cannell, and I forget the other guy's name, but I know him. He's an old linebacker for Oklahoma who does broadcasting.
Bosworth.
No.
I'm just kidding. Time.
No, this guy's a little more level-headed here. If you said his name, I would know it. But I listen, flick around in the mornings. Well, this morning they had a Red Raider insider, so it's Texas Tech, and all his comments when they would ask him questions, his responses were basically geared to how are they going to fare in the playoff. Nothing about the regular season. I always have the 10-2 on the wheel, but I wanted to flip them off.
Well, in the 12-gamer,
Cocky is all get out.
In the 12-gamer, they don't play BYU or Utah. And I guess if you run the table, you could lose the conference and title game and still get in at 12-1, I would think.
Yeah, would two teams get in, though? I mean, and all his responses were geared to how Texas Tech is going to do in the postseason, in the playoff, not the postseason, the playoff, because it's just naturally assumed
that they're going to do it.
And you got that kind of money and all that, so I guess, and they did it last year. They steamrolled BYU and only lost one game, and they can say, oh, their quarterback was out that game, and he was, but Hammond's supposed to be ready for the first game, blah, blah, blah. We'll see how it goes. But I think it would be a blow if it's just another one-bid league again.
Yeah. But this is a version of what we talked about for years with the Pac-12. It's a blow if they don't get a team in the 4-teamer this year. And
but this is worse. When you only have 4 teams, that's another story.
0 for 4 is worse than 1 for 12. Discuss.
I think it is. That's because you knew that the other leagues that were going to get at least 2, if not 3, or all 4.
That was the 5th league out of 5, and this is the 4th league out of 4. And so either way, it feels lousy, and you want it to change.
Yeah, but to think that James Madison and Tulane have more playoff appearances than BYU and Utah is right up there, saying that if the playoffs started today, the White Sox would have a bye and the Dodgers would.
Timmy B does have Notre Dame at number 3, so there's an opportunity for BYU to go on the field and change perceptions.
That's a gigantic opportunity.
Yep.
nationally playoff-wise, that's probably the biggest opportunity they have because they do not play Texas Tech.
Yeah, I would drop probably. It is. I mean, the next biggest game would be BYU and Utah.
I'm assuming Notre Dame does what they're supposed to do. That's why it's a probably. The quarterback could get hurt or they could be in trouble.
They could unravel the way Penn State did.
I don't think
that's going to happen.
But that's why I have to go with probably because I don't know what the season is going to look like yet. Although we anticipate Notre Dame being very good, if not literally undefeated when they come in here on October 17th. So yeah, it's a logical assumption there. As I look at BYU's schedule, I think that's 1 and Utah is 2.
And they haven't been rewarded for beating Utah in the past, so why would they be rewarded for beating Utah this year?
I think what they need is the Sun Devils to be really good. They need the Sun Devils. It would greatly help their case if the Sun Devils were good and somehow went into College Station and won that ball game. Yeah. That you need your conference brethren to do well. That will help you as long as you beat them.
That's the next best game on the schedule, and then there's a handful of games the league is supposed
TCU,
to win,
we'll see.
And they better win. The TCU North Carolina game?
No, I could argue that TCU is a better team than ASU.
Oh, okay.
But we'll see how it plays out. Maybe not.
But if TCU and
TCU's
ASU,
away.
If they're really good, then that could.
Same thing with Arizona. Yeah. And Utah needs Houston to be really good because you have to have marquee wins.
Yeah. And Utah and BYU both want Houston to beat Texas Tech.
Of course they do.
Everybody will be rooting for whoever's playing Texas Tech.
I got to admit,
every
listening
week.
to that guy this morning,
it irritates.
Go Cougars.
baby.
Yeah.
So
for
confusing having two Cougars in the same league.
Yeah. Well,
such a common name.
Go Cougs and go Cougars.
Our Cougs, their Cougars. I think that the conference really needs each other to be really good and have some super teams. And I know it's counterintuitive to root for BYU to beat Notre Dame, but if they do and then you turn around and beat them, that's what it's going to take. You want to have that opportunity to get that at-large bid. And I think part of the deal with BYU tripping all over themselves at the Cowboy Stadium last year is everybody knew Tech was in and BYU was playing for their playoff lives. And that just adds pressure. And you can act like, well, they, blah, blah, blah. But, I mean, they're human beings, man. A 5-foot putt with your buddies versus a 5-foot putt to win a tournament is a major difference. It's just a fact. And so with that in mind, you'd like to know that, hey, you're playing for seeding when you get to Texas in December. And I think the only way to do that is to have your team beat really good teams, which means the other teams in the conference they all need to go 3-0.
48-0 for the Big 12 in non-conference play. Not going to happen, but that's what you need.
Yeah, you do. That's a good starting point because there are 2 or 3 nice games in there. BYU and the Devils having 2 of them.
The Notre Dame and Texas A&M are the biggest.
Yeah.
But there is something to be said for sweeping the next 8 to 10 games against power teams.
I think there are. And then maybe one of those teams beats a big dog in the SEC.
Yeah. And maybe one of those teams takes off and ends up being really good. It doesn't look like in North Carolina or Arkansas or Auburn. But nonetheless, you need to go 3-0 in those games.
Right. Well,
Baylor's got to beat Auburn.
Rather than them taking off, is them sucking but beating you. That's the worst case scenario.
Terrible. Yeah, that would be terrible.
Yeah.
2-10 Arkansas gets a win. 5-win
and then they're no
Auburn gets
good
a win.
in the SEC.
Yeah.
That's a major blow.
Yeah. You lost to our 8th or 10th or 14th place team.
Right. We cannot have that as a Big 12 entity to get.
So TCU must beat North Carolina.
I think they should. Yes.
Would Iowa State over Iowa be the third best one? I'm trying to think what's the next best game after BYU and Texas A&M.
I'd have to go double check every single one of them.
Yeah.
And then you need Iowa to be good. And Iowa, it's a tough task in the Big Ten to be in the upper level. They are stacked. at the top.
Kansas, Missouri would be another. Missouri might be pretty good. We'll see if they can win 8 or 9 or 10 games.
Yeah, they've with that what's it, Drinkwitz or Drinkwater, whatever his name is, Eli. They've seemed like they've rebounded a little bit, and they're decent. But yeah, you simply need that, and I think it would be a major blow. Now, I mean, you could say, well, is it a really major blow? The committee or subcommittee is meeting today, this very day, on playoff expansion, and if it gets to 16, or I've even heard now maybe 20, 24. The compromise being 20. I still think it matters because what has to happen when that playoff is expanded, that the Big 12 has momentum in terms of number of teams, and then the next logical step is success in that playoff. You can't – the Devils showed well against Texas. Texas Tech bombed against Oregon. They sucked. Can't have that.
So at 20 teams, can you get 3 in, maybe 4?
Yeah, and you've got to go in with momentum where the mindset is, well, yeah, we got to include them because look what they've done when they've gotten the bids. Yeah. Hey, the human element, I've been saying with the NCAA tournament for decades, this is the reality of it. You cannot eliminate the human element, which a lot of it is perception, which is why the Big Ten and SEC are going to get 5, 6 teams, depending on how big the thing is. And you want to be right there. You can't, if the SEC and the Big Ten are getting 12 teams in, half of them, you can't just get 2.
At what point does the SEC's lack of success catch up with them?
Never.
2 and 8.
Not in my lifetime, and I'm as old as crap. I don't even know if I'm going to be alive Sunday.
2 and 8. That's a 49er coordinator. You can't mix that.
Well, you got a couple Irish people there, man. We think alike.
The SEC's 2 and 8 against the other power leagues the last 3 years. At some point, that's got to catch up with them.
I don't see it. Who's
But
catching?
to your point, if Auburn goes out and beats Baylor, then they'll just go, see? There aren't that many SEC Big 12 games.
I think reps
Arkansas, Utah's
are
one.
hard to build, and you can argue harder to destroy, if destroy is the right word.
It is the right word. I think it's actually exactly the right word because a rep, you can be down for a decade or 2. Miami would be a great example of that. Alabama before Saban would be a great example of that. And as soon as you get good again, they're back.
It's restored.
Yeah, it's restored like that.
We've seen that with BYU. The isolation of independence, they were off the radar. But now they've won double-digit games and all that. Seems like they're back. National brand. I saw Jay Drew had a story in the D News about Colorado State talking about how that when they go over there, that's going to be the biggest opponent they've had in their stadium because it's a national brand. And all the folks over there in Fort Collins, they all remember BYU. Obviously they do, right? So I think you're right. You can have that gap, but once that gap is closed, it's like what you had before comes back much easier.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. Very quickly.
I think we're seeing it a little bit with Boise. They had a real good run, slipped a little bit, and they kept going through coaches with guys taking off. Well, now I think they've reestablished it, and we think, oh, yeah, Boise, boom, favorite.
Heavy favorite in the Pac-12 this year.
Yeah.
Got a lot of first-place votes.
Right.
I knew I was forgetting another Big 12 game. The reason I forgot it is because I don't think that team has any chance. Oklahoma State's playing Oregon. I knew there was another mega opponent out there.
Oh, man, you're just downgrading Menstermaker, whatever his name is, Eric Morris, and the mean green of Red Raiderville, or Green Raiderville, whatever they were over there in North Texas.
The mean green.
Just mangling that.
Yeah, I'll get to it.
You will eventually.
The North Texas Mean Green, the Texas Tech Red Raiders, and some of the Oklahoma State Cowboys are also in the mix here.
Yeah. And I'll be rooting for how about them Cowboys?
Thanks, Jimmy.
Yeah, I mean,
Jim and Jara.
I'll go to my grave. It'll be hard for me to root for the money green of the Oregon Ducks. It's a good thing their color is green because that's how they got to be where they were.
Hey-o.
Right? Literal green.
DJ and PK, when we come back, everything you missed in the first 3.5 hours of this show. A lot of football. We'll get to that next. NFL and college. If you missed it, we had Jason Cole on back at 7:30. Covered the NFL for a long time. Gave us his early season thoughts, how teams are stacking up. We'll get to that. Stay with us.
3, 2, 1. This is Scotty G and Coach Tim LeCoe.
Joining us now, it is the head coach of the Utah State Aggies, Bronco Mendenhall.
I know you're so process-driven and there's a plan to every part of the season, but is this your favorite part?
There's an excitement that comes to the start of every season for sure. I would have to say, just in terms of full transparency, I really like the off-season. I like the molding, forming, crafting, forging the next team through the weight workouts and through the runs and through the early morning workouts and through spring practice. I think that's my favorite era. Nothing takes away from the season, or can it take the place of the season, and the excitement going into today, certainly at a really high level. I think foundationally that my favorite part is the formation of the team, and now this part where you get to see kind of the fruition of the formation of your program.
Catch Scotty G and Coach weekdays from 10 to 2, presented by Mountain Land Supply on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
DJ PK, it's 97.5, KSL Sports Zone. Time to get you up to speed on everything you missed in this show. Brought to you by Trajan Wealth. Call Trajan Wealth today, your local trusted financial fiduciary. Call them at 1-855-TRAJAN1 or visit their website at TrajanWealth.com. We had Jason Cole, longtime NFL writer and analyst on the show. A little preseason look at the NFL. You brought up with him the reemergence of running backs as a force in the NFL. Guys are getting money. Guys are getting drafted higher. Guys are putting up higher yardage totals, and he attributed to the cyclical nature. Everybody was throwing the ball. You needed smaller, faster guys, and you had to spread out all over the field and match up with all these receivers, which makes it easier for the power run game. So he thought it was kind of cyclical in nature, and agreed that it was happening. He was not big on the Kansas City Chiefs' cyclical nature. Maybe they're back as a wild card team, but the roster just isn't good enough in his mind.
It's extremely hard to do what the Patriots did, and that's one of the things that was amazing is that they had some turnover. Now, obviously, Brady and Belichick were still there, and they still found different ways and creative ways to cheat. Congratulations for them. Do whatever it takes. And they were able to continue winning in a duration, or as they say, a dynasty in the NFL. It is. I think it's the most impressive thing if it happens. Basketball, you understand. Okay, if you hit
a generational
good situation
player,
and they're 23 to 26, they're going to be around. And in basketball,
that's how
one or two dudes make a huge difference.
And that's how the Warriors did it, and they're the most recent example.
Right, exactly. And you understand that. Football, with guys coming and going, and all the little white receivers that ran through the Patriots to continue that degree of excellence is awesome. I'm not a big, and I don't root for or against the Patriots, but I have to acknowledge greatness, and to see that is really impressive. And so it does look like the Chiefs are on the way down, which is natural. And if I'm a Chiefs fan, I'm thinking, so what?
Every year there are teams that improve a lot. He identified the Giants with the coaching change and some young skill players maybe coming to their own, and Washington with just the chance to be healthy. They really weren't last year. And so can they get back to where they were 2 years ago?
Yeah, but then they got their guard. We just said their tackle dude just that
may not happen.
Laramie dude, he's out.
Laramie Tunsil, yeah.
And wondering, what is Daniels? Was it lightning in a bottle? Or was it sustained greatness about to happen? I don't know.
Yeah.
It's too early to see. And Darnold isn't a great quarterback, but who says you have to be a great quarterback? And maybe he is on the verge of a breakthrough. Maybe it just took so many years and he got it going on now because he was an extremely high pick, which meant that NFL folks thought that he was supposed to be good. We assign these guys labels, and then it sticks with them. I mean, John Beck talked about that about how he was put in a situation with Miami which wasn't good, and then you get labeled this or that, and it's hard for those quarterbacks to shake those things. And you're a journeyman, you're a bust, you're this, you're that. And maybe for Darnold, it just took the right situation combined with the experience in the league. I'm not willing to just cast him off that he's not good. I want to see what he can do. In fact, when Cole said that, my antenna went up. Oh, I'm going to root for Sam Darnold now.
Is it a matter of you got to go to a decent franchise, that you just go to some of these places?
I think you got to be everything.
Darnold was
obviously the franchise has got to be good for you to be good.
Jets in Carolina, and the Jets have been down forever. And he talked about that in the whole.
Sure, but I don't think Carolina has been down forever. I don't think they're down right now.
They have not
They're
been.
Okay.
They're mediocre. And there's two teams that could go worst to first, where it wouldn't be a big deal because they were in last place in their division, but they were only 2 games out of first.
And let's see what Bryce Young can do over there in Carolina. You know, he's still a young guy.
Carolina went 8-9, won the tiebreaker, 3-way tie with Tampa Bay and Atlanta. New Orleans was 2 games back at 6-11. New Orleans could go worst to first. It wouldn't be a huge jump. Detroit 9-8, tied with Minnesota for last place, but only 2 games behind the Bears. So, again, not a huge jump if either one of them did it. Minnesota was weird because they were out of it. And then they won 5 at the end of the year when they were 4-8, and they were never really in the playoff hunt. But they finished 9-8. So has Minnesota found something? What's the deal there?
Well, getting to the playoffs is an accomplishment, but who's serious about getting to the bowl? Who do we view? And I don't know yet. It's obvious way, way, way early. Who do I think? I mean, we can go with the usuals, but
we can. But
I think Seattle was somewhat of a surprise. And so who is bowl worthy?
Seattle was not, to me, a surprise as a playoff team, but they were as the champion. They were really good 2 years ago and then missed the playoffs. I think they were 10, maybe even 11 win team.
But we're talking about winning the bowl.
People were not betting on Darnold and that offense to have enough.
Right.
The usual suspect is really one usual suspect in my mind: Rams, and Rams. But if you want to widen it out,
this is the NFL, man.
If you want to widen it out,
between now and January, might as well be 10 years.
Bears, Eagles, we can go some usual suspects here.
The Bears are on the come.
Bills, usual suspect. Yeah, I'd agree.
I look for Indiana to make a serious run at the bowl.
Indiana?
Yeah, aren't they moving to Indiana?
The Indiana Bears?
Yeah.
Okay, well, they're Soldier Field this year.
The Hammond, Indiana Bears.
Oh, we call the Jets and Giants in New York.
The New Jersey.
They're not changing the Chicago Bears.
They don't even practice over there.
I know. That's all in New Jersey.
Jeez.
But a lot of the people with big money who fill their luxury suites come from there. That's it.
Well, they come from all over.
They do, but the biggest money's in Manhattan. And you're right, there's money in Connecticut.
And most of those people, they don't live there. They live either in Connecticut or Jersey. That's like, why do we call it a foul pole? If it hits it, it's a home run. Don't make no sense.
Should be the fair pole.
I've been to the Jets practice facility, and it's like 10 minutes from where I grew up, and that ain't New York.
That'd be awesome if they worked out in Central Park. That'd be cool. Let's go over to Central Park and watch the Jets work out.
So I think the Bears, when they move, or if they move, they should be called the Indiana Bears.
That'd be good. Get right on that.
Like the Kentucky airport, or the Cincinnati airport's in Kentucky?
It is.
Yeah. So come on.
The Arlington Cowboys? Let's go.
No, we understand that.
The Inglewood Rams.
No one called them the Inglewood Lakers.
The West Palm Beach Dolphins. No, I don't think they're in West Palm, actually. That'd be funny. Jason Cole, wherever you get your interviews, there was a lot of NFL talk there. We went through a lot of stuff with him. So wherever you get your podcasts, go grab it. KSL Sports, KSL Sports app, YouTube, wherever. Steve Barlow came on, talked Ute offense. We focused on the offense the whole time. What's it going to look like? How much are you going to throw it? How good is that O-line going to be?
I think
Parker
the offense was
run it down their throat?
Very much so dominant at times last year. But can and will it take the next step? Because if it can and does, then they're right there. But I don't know. It's not a complete mystery because the baseline is good, but we're talking about being better than the baseline.
I get it, but there's still question marks you can't know until you see a game, and and you're really not even going to know in the first game.
No, you're not going to know anything.
You can only know the negative. You know, if nothing
there won't
works,
be any negative.
If nothing works in the first game, then it's red flags everywhere. But we all anticipate it will work in the first game.
Well, Kyle has often said that you got to get into early October before you know what you have here, and so that'll be that. I don't think they'll be pushed that much in the non-conference. Next year, I think they got Miami and Vegas, so looking forward. That's something to behold.
Yeah,
and bringing Miami all the way to Vegas.
Yeah,
that is really cool.
Very unusual.
Right.
And yet it's happening.
I'll probably watch that game.
Probably. Pretty good odds.
Never know what's going to happen. I anticipate being there at that game.
You may not be a live Sunday, though, as you pointed out. So I guess you got to have your qualifiers.
Well, I'm going forward as if I'll be here a week from today.
Okay. Got a good solid plan for the next week.
But you never know.
Get 8 to 10 days out. You got to leave your options open. Don Nelson, second winningest coach in NBA history, passed away at the age of 86 over the weekend. His family made the announcement yesterday. He won 5 NBA titles as a player. He was a Hall of Fame inductee, a longtime coach. First with the Bucks. I was not aware, just because of my age. He retired, went straight into assistant coaching, and Larry Costello got fired after 15 games as a head coach. And then away he went. When I knew him, he was just the Bucks head coach, and then I subsequently read about all the other stuff. But Bucks head coach, Warriors head coach. I had forgotten how briefly he was the Knicks head coach. Less than 1 season. And that's how Jeff Van Gundy got the job. It's a very short and he actually had a winning record. It's not like it was a disaster, but whatever, it blew up. And then he went on to Dallas.
Well, when a famous sports person dies like that, and he's 86, so obviously advanced age, I go back and look on all the stuff and see what they did as a player, how they got to where they were, if they end up being coaching. Like, I remember when John Havlicek died, I went back and looked at his stats. Like, he's like 28, 9, and 8. That guy was a big-time player.
Big-time player.
Stan Musial died. I went back and looked at his stats. Exact number of hits on the road as at home. Big-time hitter. And then I went to the Cardinal Stadium, and they got a bunch of statues, and they got him down like the third baseline on the outside of the stadium, but then around home plate area, one, Stan Musial. Obviously.
Similar to the Giants. Because
exactly.
Willie's home plate, but they've got other stuff outside the ballpark.
Yes, and Willie needs to be front and center because he's the freaking greatest ball player of all time. I don't care what they say about Ohtani.
Willie and Stan need to get their own spot at the park.
And so I did look up Don Nelson's stuff, and he talked about how he didn't know what he was going to do when he got done. He went to Iowa, and he had 3 options, and the other 2 he thought, I'll try this coaching gig and see how it works. Smart move. And then he was a longtime coach, innovator, promoter of the league. Nelly. Everybody, I mean, if I had $1 for every time the jurist in my 10 years of covering him as a beat guy talked about Nelly, I'd have your money.
A lot of respect, he says, ignoring the last comment. A lot of respect for Nelly and the fact that he got big guys shooting threes, big guys handling the ball. What skill do you have? I'm not going to just automatically put you in a spot.
Yes.
Did not win a championship as a coach. Never had the mega players of that era, but took good players and had good teams and good playoff runs. And coached for a long, long time. Ballpark, what did it have to be like 30 years, right?
Yeah, and then his son got into the foreign stuff. Now everyone's into the foreign stuff. And that's how they made that trade to get Nowitzki, who was a legendary player, Hall of Famer, obviously, beloved in Dallas. And if you're beloved in Dallas and you didn't play for the Cowboys, you're beloved.
That's a good point right there. They soak up a lot of oxygen in that area.
Yes. about 98% of it.
Yeah. Memphis Grizzlies forward Brandon Clark died from the effects of heroin and cocaine. The LA County Medical Examiner's Office announced over the weekend he was found dead May 11th. That is a tragedy, PK, gone way, way too young. It seemed like there used to be a lot more of this associated with sports. There seems to be a lot less, but a reminder here that it's not completely out of the game.
Yeah, it's actually shocking because you're right. When I was growing up back east, I knew kids. My mother's boss that they drove every day into Harlem. They worked. He was a manager of the bookstore on the campus of City College of New York, and my mother was an employee there. And his son, Ricky Minaco, I can remember it. I'm like 12 years old, and he's 16, 17, and he doesn't get up, and they go in there and he's dead, and that was like. That's all I needed to know. You don't ever do that, and that was such a powerful lesson to me, and I remember it vividly. And you're right, that was far more common, but it seemed like we got past that. And then to read this stuff, kid who grew up in the Phoenix area, went to San Jose, and then transferred over to Gonzaga to be done, and was in the NBA. It's just like, wow, that still goes on. That's awful.
In the NFL, there was plenty of stories here. Teddy Bridgewater retiring caught everybody's eye. That's a guy who was awesome in college, had a pretty good pro career, left pretty early. I mean, quarterbacks can play into their late 30s, especially the backups. And he went and coached high school football and did a great job with his high school team down there in Florida, but then came back to the NFL. And now he has stepped away again. Kind of late, but hey, one person's decision is somebody else's opportunity, right? Open up another roster spot.
Yeah.
I wonder if he's really gone or if he'll be back again. Well, I mean, he's really gone. I wonder if he's gone forever.
No, I know what you meant. I know what you meant.
Yeah.
Permanently gone.
Permanently, yeah. He'd been away for a couple days, so there's something going on in his personal life and decided he needed to step away. Roger Craig, former 49er running back, just sent into the Hall of Fame. Well earned, a little late in my mind, but there he is. But as part of that, he announced vascular dementia. Doctors believe in part from concussions he sustained during 11 years in the NFL as a running back. And it'll be interesting to see. I was just talking with my wife about this. They made all these safety changes, and we can see the toll it's taking on guys from the 80s and 90s. He wasn't a big national figure, but a guy who was popular in San Diego, who went into the media, linebacker Billy Ray Smith from Arkansas. And he had a long career. He was in the NFL like a decade. He just passed away, effects of dementia. Junior Seau, that was a massive story, really sad, when he committed suicide and went back to CTE. And there have been tons of examples from the 80s and 90s. Now, these last 5, 10, 15 years, it seems like, you maybe even go back a little further, it's been harder to get back into the game after you, quote unquote, had your bell rung. You just used to go back in the game. Now it's a concussion. You're out. There's a protocol. It's a year or two. They're developing helmets more. Is that really going to make a difference when we get to 2040, 2050, 2060 and look back at these guys? Or is this, hey, you tried, but the nature of the sport, it really didn't make any difference at all? And I'm curious how that's going to play out. I don't think anybody can really answer that question right now.
I think in the way it will play out is the players are more educated and know of the possibility, so they step aside.
Shorter careers for the guys who
yes,
feel
and
like
we've
they're starting to
seen
have
that
issues.
more often. That's where I think
we just read a headline last
headway
week
can be made.
Yeah,
of a youngster who could have continued to play, but saying no, I've got the pension, I've played 5 years, whatever it is, I'm going to step aside because they've become educated on the possibilities. The public has become educated. If not educated, then certainly a higher level of awareness of the potential in your 40s and 50s and 60s, as you just said with the Smith guy. And so with that in mind, I think that's where a difference can be made. There won't be as much reluctance to step aside for the benefit of your health. Yeah. I mean, it was shocking when Barry Sanders did what he did.
Mm-hmm.
But who's to say that wasn't a brilliant decision?
Oh, we talked a little baseball this morning. Something I just saw here on social media, though. This is the 31st anniversary of a Bizarro game. Do you remember it?
The 31st anniversary, we don't discuss 31st. Now, if it would have been 30th, yes, but 31st, no.
On this date in 1995, Major League Baseball's most recent forfeited game occurred. Cardinals, Dodgers. Dodger fans didn't like calls. It was ball day. They started throwing their souvenir baseballs out on the field, and the umpires just waved it off and took off, and that was it. They left. We're out.
And see, now you would just go to replay, and then everybody would take their ball and go home.
Thank you for that. All right, DJ and PK, we'll take a break. When we come back, your feedback next. Stay with us. DJ and PK, it's 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. It's time for your feedback. What do you have to say about today's show? Rumors ran wild. The BYU AD, Brian Santiago, was getting fired to the point a school communications official went on a message board to squash it. What is going on? Wild Turkey says going on Cougar board to squash it is probably the worst thing you could do.
Why's that?
I don't know. Maybe thought it'd give it more life. Other than that, I can't think what the negative would be. I guess that'd be the argument.
Well, there's so much that's out there on a message board, you know, and pretty much everybody has an anonymous name, so nobody knows who
People
they are and whatnot. So it is unusual, but, you know, I guess it's, I don't know. I think John McBride is his name. I don't know if he was directed to do it or he just felt the need to do it on his own. But it's unusual.
Vic at One True Aggie says the fact it was BYU rumors should have ended any concern.
BYU rumor, boom, false.
That's it. Max says he's no homo. Santiago's style is always going to attract criticism and make him vulnerable to sabotage attempts. Brian wasn't coordinated clearly and convincingly enough to make him invulnerable to the kinds of RF attacks Watergate made famous. It's an RF attack. He puts RF in quotation
RF?
marks.
Rumor false.
Okay.
I don't know.
Bodacious says, football season's close when wild rumors are going around. Average Homeboy says it's desperate Utah fans.
Is it? What are they desperate about?
They want controversy. They want trouble down at the Y.
I mean, sure. But Brian is so brand new at the job that his tenure right now is to be determined.
PC Darrell, you're a BYU lover.
Who?
I assume me because I put it on Twitter.
Oh. Yeah, I mean, it's documented evidence of you and your son at a Utah spring game in Utah gear, as the story goes.
As the story goes is a critical part there.
But it's documented. I've seen the documentary.
Mark, and you stir the pot by saying, what's going on?
Well, I wrote it, so, but that something's got to be going on. I mean, it's an unusual thing. When I first heard about it, I just blew it off. But then I thought, when I first heard about it, there was no statement. Then the statement was there, and then I literally sat on it for like 6-7 hours and thought, do we want to discuss this? Rather than discussing the rumor, which I don't like to discuss, discuss the fact that the PR person employed by the university goes on the message board and that's not a rumor. You see, I know you know what I'm saying.
I do know what you're saying there.
Right.
And
That's
normally,
the story.
there have been a million rumors. There have been more than a million rumors. And routinely, the communications people will ignore them. but occasionally rumors get addressed. Typically, it's coaches' jobs. You know, a rumor the coach is taking a job or a rumor a coach is going to let go. They typically don't like to address rumors because it gives them more life.
Right.
And then you don't get anything else
chasing your
done.
tail all
It's
day
all,
long.
yes, you're chasing your tail. You don't get anything else done.
Right.
But sometimes it gets so loud, you feel compelled to do it. And
this
so
is one of those cases.
Here's one of those times.
So we're not really discussing the rumor. We're discussing
But
the reaction to the rumor by
it is
a
unusual.
BYU employee in the communications department.
And it's unusual this time of year. Typically, this would be happening halfway or 2/3 of the way through a season when, you know, things aren't going well or things are going great. The Urban Meyer to Florida or Notre Dame rumors started before the Utes finished their perfect regular season.
Especially when the man is barely into his tenure.
That makes it even more unusual. Yeah.
And these jobs, the reality is, it's not quite like a coach where you're hired to be fired, but having an AD have to step aside is not that big of a deal in terms of news. It's news, but not unusual news.
DJ and PK, we're out of time. Scotty G and the coach Tim Lacombe are next right here in the Zone.